Hello everyone, how's it going? Billy Ballgame here, back with another video. This week's video is going to be twofold. It's going to be the 83 Fleer set from the Basement Collection. And then Chris and I recently got our SGC return back. It showed up today. Made it here in 2 days from Florida. So I wasn't even expecting these to be here until Monday. So I'm glad they got in. I'm super happy with the grades. I just got done watching the Mizzou Georgia game. Mizzou went blow for blow with Georgia for 3 quarters, and then a couple kind of not smart football plays swung the momentum, and Mizzou ended up losing to Georgia by 9 points. But it was a really good game. I didn't expect Mizzou to win it. I'm happy they hung in as long as they did. So they could, if they finish up strong, they could have a 9 or 10 win season, which would be the first time in many years since we've been able to have a record like that. So I'm super stoked about the football team this year. And then also real quick, congratulations to the Texas Rangers on winning their first franchise World Series, and to Mike Moynihan for getting to celebrate one. So that'll do it for the intro. I'm going to go ahead and spin this thing around and go through the cards. I think I'm going to start with the 83 Fleer set, and then I'll do the SGC reveal at the end. So I'm going to build up some suspense, and hopefully you'll all watch to the end to see the SGC reveal, because it's worthwhile. All right, I'll be right back with you. All right, I'm back for the second part of the video. So this set, again, by my count, has 54 Hall of Famer cards in it. It's considerably smaller than the 83 top set. I think this is probably about a 660 card set, whereas the 83 tops, I think, maybe 792 or somewhere around there. So quite a few less cards, but I think this is a pretty cool set. So Fleer was pretty young to the game as they got back into it. In, I think it was 81, made their first baseball set in a long time. And 81 and 82 Fleer were not very nice sets, in my opinion. But this year is the first, to me, that they kind of stepped their game up again, and the cards got a little bit nicer. So I like this 83 Fleer set. This is another set that I don't ever remember opening any packs of these back then. So when this set would have come out, probably in February or March of 2000, or in 1983, I would have still been 7 years old. So I was pretty young when these came out. A lot of these cards I had never really seen before. But I like this set. So there's Rusty Staub. I'm going to go through these quickly. So again, I can do the SGC cards at the end. Dusty Baker. And like I said, a lot of these cards I'd never seen. I think there are some pretty cool cards in here. There are a lot of some kind of grainy and dark pictures too. Just not real good lighting. But overall, I kind of like the design of these. They're simple. But I think if you get a well-centered one, they're pretty sharp cards. So there's Dwight Evans. That's a good-looking card, I think. Steve Garvey. So as always, of course, I'm starting out with the stars. Vita Blue. Pete Rose. And again, this set has the most of the big rookie cards that the 83 top set has. And we know who those guys are. There's Cobra Dave Parker. And Keith Hernandez. So that's it for what I pulled out as the stars. Here are the rookies of the non-Hall of Famers. So this is Willie McGee. This is the first one of these I've ever owned. I'm going to go ahead and get this one graded just because he's an all-time great Cardinal. And it's his rookie card. So Willie McGee, in my opinion, is probably up there, in the top 10 or 15 or so Cardinals players of all times. He was a really good player for a long time. Some He's not a Hall of Famer, but he has some numbers that don't put him too far off. There's Frank Viola. He was one of the best pitchers in the 80s. Howard Johnson got out to a monster start early in his career. Lots of home runs, lots of RBIs, lots of all-star games, and then he very rapidly tailed off. And then here is Ron Kittle. For some reason, this is on Mike Payne's 100 greatest cards of the 80s. And if you don't know who Ron Kittle is, I want to say he hit something like 39 home runs, somewhere in that ballpark in this 83 season. And then very rapidly kind of fell back into mediocrity. But he hung around in the league for quite a while. So here are the Hall of Famers. Second year Cal Ripken. That's a sharp looking card. And I like these superstar specials. They have lots of these in the sets. And I like the combo cards, the dual player cards, especially if they're both Hall of Famers. That one has Kent Herbeck and Dave Winfield. I don't know why it was so hard to spit that out. Andre Dawson. AL infielders. There's Robin Yount and Buddy Bell. Yeah. Buddy Bell was a pretty good player. Paul Molitor. Joe Morgan. Here's Gaylord Perry in a superstar special card, 300 career wins. It's a cool card there. Goose Gossage. That handlebar mustache is awesome right there. Rod Carew. Jim Rice. Jack Morris. Don Sutton. Tom Seaver. Raleigh Fingers. Lee Smith. Tim Raines. Fergie Jenkins. Phil Niekro. Eddie Murray. Gaylord Perry's regular card. And here's one of those dual Hall of Famer superstar special cards I'm talking about. So 2 Hall of Fame catchers and 2 of the best catchers in baseball for this era, Carlton Fisk and Gary Carter. Rest in peace, Gary Carter. And then there is Tony Perez. So that's it. Oh no, I still have one more small stack. So here's Yastrzemski with Dennis Eckersley. Here's Harold Baines. Dennis Eckersley's base card. Another Gary Carter with, is that Bo Diaz was his name? Yeah, Bo Diaz. He was a decent player. Here's Pete Rose and Pops, Willie Stargell. That one's pretty cool. Looks like that's at Veterans Stadium maybe. Reggie Jackson and Ben Ogilvy. Ogilvy, not a Hall of Famer, but a good player. Here's Jim Cott. Look at the old ESPN logo on the microphone there. That's cool. I wouldn't even have had ESPN then. For probably close to 10 years. There's Dave Winfield. Carlton Fisk. And a lot of these cards, again, they looked pack fresh. It's just a matter of how well they were cut from the factory from Fleer. They were in really, really good shape. Ted Simmons. Steve Carlton. And at some point, you know, I'll probably grade more of these once I get more graded cards and start completing, you know, Hall of Fame player runs and stuff like that. Here's the Wizard, Ozzie Smith. Willie Stargell's regular card. Mike Schmidt. That's kind of a dark, grainy, not very good photo of him on this card. Robin Yount. Gary Carter's regular card. And Bruce Sutter would revolutionize the closer's position with the forkball or split finger. He was the first one really that I'm aware of to ride that as his dominant pitch, and rode it all the way into the Hall of Fame. All right, so here's some regular Hall of Famers that I'm going to look at further and consider for grading. There's Rickey Henderson. George Brett. This is a cool card. The Silver Shoe, Rickey Henderson. I just think that's cool. Johnny Bench. Reggie Jackson. And then this one I think is really cool. So here's a Superstar Special with Rickey Henderson and Reggie Jackson. So I'm probably going to grade both of these cards. It'd be really cool if I could display them together. I just thought that was awesome. Here's Jim Palmer. Probably spent more time in his underwear in the 80s than anybody on the planet. Those of you that remember the jockey commercials will know what I'm talking about. There's Carl Yastrzemski. Nolan Ryan, great looking card there. Off center a little bit, top to bottom, but. And then this I think is really cool too. Ozzie Smith and Lonnie Smith. They weren't actually brothers. They weren't related. But there were probably a couple seasons where between the two of them, they would contribute about 100 stolen bases. I think one year Lonnie Smith had 60 and was an all-star for the Cardinals. So I'm a really big fan of that card. I just think it's really cool. And then here are the big 3 rookie cards. The first of these that I have ever owned. There's Tony Gwynn. Maybe off center, top to bottom. Here's Wade Boggs. Maybe off center from left to right a little bit. But I'm gonna review these. If I think they get 9s, I'll send them in for grading. And then there's Rhino. Love the blueberry uniforms back in the day. All right, so that's going to wrap up the 83 Fleer set. The next set that I'm going to go through for the basement collection is going to be the 83 Donruss set. And again, it's going to have the Diamond Kings from the 82 Donruss set mixed in with it. So it may be a little bit of a longer video. But I'm going to go ahead and show you the 2 cards that I got back from SGC. So Chris and I sent 31 cards in. And I went ahead and threw a couple in. 29 of them were Chris's, 2 of them were mine. If you remember in my pre-grading video, when I was going over the submission, I said I thought the 85 Team USA McGuire card was going to be an SGC 8. I was hoping it would grade a 9, but it came back as an 8.5. So this one might be a candidate for upgrade at some point. I think if this were a little better centered, top to bottom, that it may have been worthy of a 9 on this card. But like I said, I got this as part of the 85 top set that I bought off of eBay several years ago. And the Clemens I sent in was a 9. The Puckett was beat. But the Clemens was sharp, the McGuire's sharp. So I may go back and pull some of those cards out and review them and see what the Nolan Ryan and some of the other bigger cards look like. And then the Barry Sanders '89 Pro Set Barry Sanders. If you remember back to my video, I had a sticky on there on my pre-grade sheet that said, how can this not be a 10? And I figured it would come back graded as a 9 or a 9.5. And I had talked about previously sending off what I thought was the best one of them at the time, and it graded as a 9.5. So this one, I had a commenter tell me that it was a gem mint card, and I would agree with that, and so would SGC. So I'm super happy to have this in a 10. This is actually the oldest graded card in my collection in a 10 at this point. And I think it's awesome. So I will probably sell the 9.5 at some point, and then just keep this one in my collection. And this is his least popular rookie card, so there's not a lot of value to it. I think last summer maybe it might have been up close to $100 or so. Now it's in the $60 or $70 range. So I'm pretty happy with these, just to have, you know, random cards, not random, but cards I'd had pulled out, kind of pre-graded, and trying to decide if I wanted to send them in to grade or not. So I'm pretty happy with that. Like I said, I might upgrade the McGuire to a 9 at some point, maybe a 9.5, but I just think that's going to be too expensive because his 85 tops in a 10 is over $1,000, I think, and I'm just not going to pay that. So, all right, everyone, that will wrap up the video for this week. I hope everybody has a good one. If you have stuck around, I appreciate it, and I guess that'll wrap it up. So until the next time, have a good one, and I'll talk to you later.